hours later.
So to start off, we're going to go with the demon. The demon can sometimes be a bit tricky to identify. Now, if you see you have a bit of sanity that's, above 60, and you keep getting hunted constantly, then you might want to guess it's a demon. Otherwise, you'd guess it's a banshee. But they can be a bit tricky to tell apart. Of course, demons are, demons hunt a lot. Banshees just are aggressive. So try doing that at first. It might work out. Urei is super simple to find out. It's the easiest to identify. You want to know why? Because all you gotta do, just see you're dehydrating fast. You've been there for 5 minutes and your sanity drain down 60? Yeah, it's probably a urate if your sanity's draining fast. Oh boy, Revenant. Revenants are just scary at first glance. They go so freaking fast. But in Specter, you can't hide to slow it down. They didn't really do that programming. Now, the only way to counter it is just be far away from it at all times. If you notice it's going a bit fast and it stops hunting before it gets you, get out of there, vote for Revenant. The spirit is a really common ghost. It's also really hard to identify without any evidence because there aren't any smudge sticks in Specter. What you gotta do is just, get some evidence. If you can't get the last one and it's been acting commonly, go and guess that it's a spirit and dip. Unless, of course, you want to keep getting hunted just so you can get your stupid last piece of evidence. That's just reckless. I would not do that if you can't get it. The mayor. The one who's a little scared you by turning off the lights and drain your sanity more. So, the mayor, you can, if it's turning off the breaker a lot, and it's turning off a lot of your lights, try turning on a few lights at once. See if either the breaker goes out or if all the lights are turned off. If it's kind of quickly, then you might want to guess this mayor. I'm hoping you do it without evidence. Yeah. I really don't know why I selected this picture though. But yeah, it looks sort of weird, but so is the Banshee's behavior. Banshees say that they target one person at a time. Now, it's really hard to identify it version because in this version they don't, and also they can, but they still do that secret rule that they don't tell you. Hunt very early on. Of course, sometimes you're gonna also have to watch its behavior because one time a spirit hunted me at 90% sanity. Don't open the door, there's a phantom out there, because we're explaining the phantom to you. Of course, there aren't any photo cameras, so that kind of sucks. Of course, what you gotta do, if you have bullbucks, buy the sanity watch. If you look at it, it drains by 25%. You know it's a phantom. If you don't have bullbucks, memorize your sanity, go in, look at the phantom, see if it drained by at least 25%. Then you're like, ooh, maybe it's a phantom because I looked at it and it drained at least 25%. So the poltergeist. The poltergeist can be a bit tricky to identify because there's no noise. In ghost dudes, they don't make noise. And another thing, they also sometimes struggle to throw items in empty rooms, making it hard to identify them. Now, what you gotta do is if they're throwing a lot of objects, or if you have a sanity watching when they throw an object, you lose 2 sanity instead of 1 sanity, then you're gonna have to point your finger towards a poltergeist. Because I'm like, hey, he's thrown every item in the room at least 3 times now. Why is he throwing so much? Maybe he's a poltergeist. Yellow, it's the shade. The shade isn't that bad to identify. The only problem is they don't have that thing where when you're together they don't hide. It's easy to find the ghost room, but it's really hard to grab evidence from them. You can barely ever find evidence unless you're playing alone. And playing alone is really just creepy. Especially when you're playing alone Insanity. It is not fun. Imagine playing alone Insanity on Asylum, dude, with a shade. I am an Oni and I am super active. Of course, the Oni. It's active. Really active. And also there's this trick you can do with it is talk to the spirit box and immediately switch to the EMF. The EMF will probably go to 5 and you might get a spirit box reaction, meaning it's either a Jinn or an Oni, which are the last two I have for you. And of course, yeah, the Oni, if it's really active, the ghost has been really active, giving you a lot of evidence and talking a lot to the spirit box, throwing quite a few items, then you might want to guess it's an Oni. And also if it's hunting a lot, you want to guess it's an Oni. An Oni, yeah, really active, hunts a ton. And also for some reason, every time it's an Oni in Phasmophobia, it always looks like the Butcher. It's really weird. And so is the Oni, because, it just makes it easy to identify. Really easy. But it's not too easy to deal with all of its hunting. Because it just loves hunting so much. There's a specific reason I saved Jinn for last. That's because it's really the hardest to identify without evidence. I would say Spirit usually, but no. I think Jinn. If the evidence is pointing towards it, and this thing is kind of fast and it's slaughtering your whole team, maybe you want to just guess Jinn, and hopefully you're not on Asylum where it's a complete maze, and you just can't make it back before it kills you, or you leave because you can't make your way back. You just gotta be careful, Jinns, they are kind of scary, because they were too lazy to program it to where it only goes fast when the breaker is on. Of course, even if it was off, this thing loves lights. So another way to identify it could be interacting with lights a lot, turning them on and off a lot.